guys, we are back filming part 2 of our series today.
I show you how pregnant I am.
Okay, I guess we're doing that. This will probably be our last video until baby comes, so yeah. Fun fact of the day.
I think the last time we filmed, she said, was November.
It's been a while since we filmed. We titled part 2 Becoming the One. I think a lot of people are interested in finding the one, but first and more importantly, they should be interested in becoming the one. And you can do this at any age, whether you're 12 years old or you're of marrying age, like 20 or 25. You can focus on becoming the one and just practicing that. And so we want to talk about that today.
I want to say that we took two kind of like different perspectives on this when me and Cameron were taking notes and kind of praying about what we wanted to talk about. I took it in the perspective of like you're in a relationship and you're working towards marriage. She took it as what?
Like being single, thinking about relationships. Mine's kind of like the first step leading into then hers, which is like the second step. So like mine is my current situation, which is like singleness into dating, and hers is like dating to marriage.
Right.
So it kind of works, actually.
I guess it kind of works, yeah.
One thing I wanted to share, which I thought was really cool, a few months ago in my Sunday school class, our Sunday school teacher, he handed out these papers, and he said, I want you to write qualities and personality traits that you think that your future spouse deserves to have in you, like if that makes sense, or like what kind of spouse does your future husband deserve or your future wife deserve. And so we put things like someone that's kind, someone that's patient, someone that is loyal and a good friend, hardworking, that kind of stuff. After we filled it out, he said, I want you to look at those traits and those qualities, and I want you to hold yourself accountable and to become those things, just to be the kind of wife or the kind of husband that your future spouse deserves. If I wanted to marry someone that had strong loyalty, they're like a really loyal person, then I would want to have that quality within myself. I can practice that now, like my friendships and being at school and being an athlete on a team, and just like practice being loyal and what it means to be a good friend, and that kind of stuff. Practicing it now will teach me to have it later in a marriage, and being a loyal wife. Not get so wrapped up in looking for somebody that we forget about becoming somebody that a godly person would want to be with, and that can also save you from a lot of like stress and anxiety. Constantly looking and like looking around and hoping you'll find the one, and just thinking, am I even ready to be with somebody that I would want to be with? Would I want to date myself? Would I want to be like with me? Because if that's not true, then I need to stop looking and start becoming. Especially from a girl perspective, it's important to remember that it's not your job to find them and like constantly looking for the one, the person you're supposed to be with. If you have given that part of your life to God, you can trust that He's working it out, and so you don't have to constantly be on the search for the perfect guy.
The first thing I have down is just praying about it. Whether you are still single or you are in a relationship, you can always be praying about if this is the right situation for you, like who you're supposed to be with. We've mentioned this in like every single video. Praying is one of the most important things you can do for your Praying is one of the most important things that you can do for your future spouse. It can even connect you two before you even meet, which is a really cool thing to think about.
Do the kind of things that you want your future spouse to be doing right now.
Just make good choices, make smart choices, hang around the type of people that you would want them to be around. Like, don't allow yourself to be influenced by the world.
And we talked about this in the part 1. But don't just mess around and have fun now and say you'll worry about it later. Because to think that your future husband's doing that right now, or your future wife's doing that right now, it's not really like, it kind of hurts you, right? It would stress you out or like hurt your feelings to know that the person you're going to marry is out there messing around, doing whatever they want, not even thinking about you. That's one thing to just be mindful of, I guess, and just start asking the Lord, like, God, what can I do now to prepare? And then also be praying for your future spouse that they're asking God the same questions. You two are both like working toward that goal.
Your choices, like I've mentioned I think a couple other times in other videos, are going to affect your future, good or bad.
Yeah.
Whether you think so or not, they will. So what you're doing right now, it's important.
Yeah, and we don't want to like shame you. There's no pressure to be perfect.
Because we've made plenty of mistakes
we speak
in our
from
life.
experience. Yeah.
You will be so happy if you choose to make smart decisions in the now.
Mm-hmm. And some of those smart decisions include embrace being single. I know we talked about it in part 1, but just be intentional about not trying to be with somebody, not trying to be in the talking season or like talking stage of somebody for a while, and just take the time to find out who you are, what kind of things you like, find God and cultivate a strong relationship with Him.
Yeah.
And just take that time to grow and to get better. You don't always have to have somebody by your side all the time.
The next thing I have is just understanding the concept of love and respect and how important that is in a relationship. I think a lot of couples nowadays struggle with respecting each other in relationships and respecting themselves and not setting boundaries. If someone's treating you a certain way, then you should probably step back and reconsider the relationship, because your spouse that the Lord has for you is not going to take advantage of you, is not going to hurt you physically, mentally, emotionally. So it's just something to really think about and have those boundaries for yourself and for your relationship, if that makes any sense. Learn to communicate well. This is like, I believe one of the biggest reasons that people decide to split up is because they can't communicate with each other. And that's another thing, is like, if you can't open up to your person and tell them what you're struggling with, then maybe you should reconsider your relationship, because that is so important to be able to do that.
And going back to being single, you can practice that now, like me with friends, with my parents, with people in my youth group or my pastor. Like, practice communicating. If there's something on my mind and I need to share it, then practice sharing it. Feelings get hurt when there's a miscommunication and like people are trying to read each other's minds and you don't know what's on people's hearts. And so just learning like stop. Try to be serious.
I'm sorry, I got the giggles.
I know you did.
This video is all over the place, guys.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. The next thing that I have is, in order to be a godly spouse, you have to know what that looks like. For me, like, I like to study people, and I know that sounds really kind of creepy, but the people that I look up to, like the godly wives in my church, there are just certain people that have that image. I aspire to be like them because I want to have those characteristics. And the next thing I have is conquering your insecurities. Something that I struggled with when I first started dating Levi is, you know, I would allow the devil to get into my mind and pick and poke at things that I'm insecure about, and he wanted to drive a wedge into our relationship and into something that the Lord had brought together. And you kind of just have to, that's another thing that you can just be praying about.
And we're not saying that you have to be this perfect person before you get into a relationship. These are just like advice or like tips of things that will improve your relationship. Obviously, nobody's perfect, and we would never ask that someone be perfect for us, or that we would have to be perfect before we get into a relationship. Imperfection is just, that's part of being a human, and there's nothing wrong with that. These are just things that could bring a better quality relationship. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for part 3. If you have any questions or ideas for this series or just our channel in general, let us know. And we just thank you guys for your support. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe.
I know that the world has been completely insane the past couple of weeks, and I know that a lot of us are going through things, a numerous amount of different things. And I just want to say that if you are struggling right now, feel free to DM either of us on Instagram. We will link our Instagrams below, and we would be happy to pray with you and encourage you and just be a light, because I know that right now is really hard for a lot of people. We would be happy to chat with you guys. Just hope that you have a really good rest of your day, and yeah.
Bye.